Watch this review here with a look at Mantis from the DC Universe Classics Wave 9, aka the Chemo Wave. Mantis is primarily a New Gods villain and is one of Darkseid's servants. He also makes one or two appearances on the Justice League cartoon series. Although I'm not sure how popular he is, being a New Gods villain and all, whereas they don't get as much attention as other franchises. Here's a quick little read-up here. Mantis' cool add-ons and his paint job make it appear that he has a much more unique sculpt than he does, but in fact it is the fairly standard DC Universe Classics body build. And, as you can see, he's just a little bit shorter than Batman. Now, if you don't like this Mantis, he does have a variant this wave. Instead of having a real fancy look to him, the variant is this kind of kick-ass looking robot thing. So, you have a fancy look for this one, and then sort of a sci-fi-ish look for the other. I saw the sculpt on it today. It looks like a completely unique sculpt. Like almost everything's original. But it just didn't appeal to me at all. Although, technically speaking, this guy doesn't do a tremendous amount for me either. Not that he isn't a really cool figure, it's just I can't get behind him because I'm not a huge fan of the character, and I don't know, the aesthetics don't appeal to me for whatever reason. And in terms of sculpt, the cape is a soft rubbery plastic, which attaches to the back of both gauntlets, and then into both the boots in the back as well. Except for it's kind of a peg that's glued in, so you could remove it if you wanted to, but you'd probably have to glue it back in. There's also enough slack in the cape that it doesn't impede movement in a tangible way. You can still get a variety of poses before the rubbery part starts pulling it back. I guess in part that's because it's glued into the upper section as well, so you could never completely remove the cape. Or it would take a lot of effort. In terms of articulation, first we have a rotating wrist, which rotates the standard 360 degrees. Single joint elbow. You won't see the actual joint because the cape will cover up half the time. Bicep joint does move, but it's the area that's most affected by the cape. Just because when you twirl it some ways, the cape might impede motion a little bit. Not a tremendous amount, though. Arms have a full range of movement despite the cape here. Hey look, he's Rocky Squirrel! Rocky the Squirrel! The flying squirrel. And, you have a rotating head here, which can go down a little bit in the front, but impeded by sculpt, and not a tremendous amount up, which again is disappointing considering he's a flying character. Although I can imagine he flies kind of like a squirrel, but waist will rotate 360 degrees. He has an ab/diaphragm joint, which gets kind of impeded with it by the cape. You can feel tension when you do that, but nothing else. Leg gets almost the full range of motion. I imagine if you're trying to go back and forward at the same time, there'd be a bit of a pull, but you probably won't. So yeah, basic movement. The thigh does rotate at 360 degrees, or actually can't rotate a full 360 just because of the cape, which is the same deal as the bicep joint. Single joint knee, and a single joint at the ankle/foot. Mantis is definitely a pretty cool looking character, although I wouldn't call him fantastic by any stretch of the imagination, although it might just be that the design doesn't appeal to me. You'll also notice that, let me quickly grab it, that the entire wave is kind of color coordinated between the greens and the blues. In addition to that, and then the blacks, which also connects here to here. I mean, the only one that really stands out as a sore thumb here is Deadshot, but Deadshot is an awesome character. Is he a strong buy? Nah, I don't think so, but then again, I'm not a fan of either the character or the entire New Gods line or anything to do with Darkseid, really. But as far as figures go that you pick up to complete a collect and connect, you could do much, much worse, because the paint and the sculpt, or the tack-ons to sculpt and so forth, gives the figure a pretty unique look. And I suspect over time I'll probably appreciate the figure a whole lot more. Well, until next time, folks.